On July 10th, EA announced that Need for Speed Rivals will be losing its online features on October 7th of 2025. So in today's video, I figured I would talk about this a little bit, as well as show you guys how you can play Need for Speed Rivals in 2025 and beyond at the best possible quality, highest frame rates, yada yada yada. Let's just get straight into it. Also, EA announced that Anthem, that garbage game, yeah, that's finally going to be shutting down in January of 2026. And to be honest, I'm kind of surprised. Like, I didn't expect EA to keep this game alive for so long, you know, considering that Anthem was considered like one of the biggest flops in gaming history, at least a pretty big one at the very most, right? I'm just surprised that EA kept the game alive this long, but finally they're taking it out back behind the shed, putting a 12 gauge to its head, and you know the rest in January of 2026. But like, who cares about Anthem, right? In fact, if this video gets 25 likes, I will go and platinum Anthem on PlayStation, which I don't really want to do, but like I said, if we get 25 likes, I'll go and do it. I'm actually pretty close to the platinum, but there is one trophy that I need that's actually bugged, and it's kind of the main reason why I haven't platinumed Anthem already. But either way, that's not the main topic of today's video. The main topic of today's video is Need for Speed Rivals. So unfortunately, EA is sunsetting this game. The game will be losing its online features, but unlike Anthem, you can actually play Need for Speed Rivals offline. However, this is a great time to mention Stop Killing Games. If you don't know what Stop Killing Games is, it's an initiative started by Accursed Farms on YouTube, and basically the goal of this initiative is to try and pass a law that would require publishers and developers of online video games to provide some way to play the game offline once they have ended support for the game. So, for instance, for Anthem, this law would make it to where if Anthem were to be developed after this law was to be passed, they would have EA and BioWare would have to add an offline mode to the game. While Need for Speed Rivals already has an offline mode, this law would prevent any future online games like, for instance, Anthem or the original Crew game. If it were to be released today, it would prevent these games from being unplayable once their service is ended by the publisher or the developer. Now, if you didn't know, Need for Speed Rivals actually does have achievements. There's just no achievements for the PC version of the game. The Xbox version, the Xbox One and 360, and the PS3 and PS4 version of Need for Speed Rivals do have achievements. If you want to be able to obtain the platinum on PlayStation or be able to achieve the 1000 gold on Xbox, you will need to 100% the achievements before October 7th, because there are some multiplayer achievements that you have to do. So I would just keep that in mind if you do want to go for the achievements. But if you own the game on PC, like I said, I'm going to be showing you guys how to play this game today in 2025, which we're going to be using the PC version of that. The PC version doesn't have achievements, so you don't really have to worry about that. Unfortunately, yeah, there's no achievements for the PC version, but if you only care about the achievements for this game, I would recommend playing it on PlayStation or, you know, on Xbox. It's up to you, whatever platform you have. But for us PC users, I'm going to be showing you guys how to unlock the frame rate. The game is locked to 30 FPS by default, but there is a mod that actually unlocks the frame rate. Also be showing you guys how to get some better graphics quality out of the game, as well as some other improvements to the game that'll make it a lot more enjoyable to play. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into it. We're going to be using the Steam version for today, and all the things that we're doing today can be found on the PC Gaming Wiki. I will leave a link to this page down in the description below, but pretty much if we scroll down a little bit here, the first mod that we're actually going to install is the Skip Intro Movie mod. So this mod from Regal on nfsmods.xyz. Basically, this mod just removes the intro videos, allowing you to launch the game and be instantly in the main menu without having to wait for the intro movies and having to wait to press A and stuff. So pretty much what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to the PC Gaming Wiki, go to Skip Intro Movies under Essential Improvements. You're going to want to click this link, go to this page right here. You're going to want to click download on the latest version right here. This is going to download a zip file, okay, just like so. Next up, you're going to want to go to the next link in the description below. It's going to be a GitHub link for Frosty Mod Manager. You're going to need this in order to use mods with this game. Basically, what Frosty Mod Manager is it's a modding utility for any Frostbite engine games. So any games from EA that were developed with the Frostbite engine, for instance, like the Battlefield games, like the Star Wars Battlefront games, like most of the modern Need for Speed games, this is going to be the all-in-one tool that you'll need if you want to mod these games. So go ahead and come down to frostymodmanager.zip. You'll, like I said, go to this link, scroll down. You're going to want to click on this to download it. And all you're going to need is a Frosty Mod Manager. You don't need the editor, you don't need the source code or anything like that. Okay, so once you've downloaded both the mod and Frosty Mod Manager, you're going to want to save the mod somewhere on your computer where you can access it later. Next, you're going to want to open this zip file that we downloaded with Frosty Mod Manager, and you're going to want to extract this onto your desktop. We can go ahead and delete the zip file. We don't need that anymore. Next, you're going to want to open the folder with Frosty Mod Manager, and you're going to want to go to here where it says frostymodmanager.exe, and we're going to open this. Okay, and so it should automatically detect the games that you have installed that use the Frosty Mod Manager for mods. If there are no games on this list, go ahead and either click scan for games, and it'll scan your PC to see if there's any more games, or you can do new, and then you can manually select the exe like so. So if you installed the game using Steam, you're going to want to navigate to the hard drive or the SSD that you installed the game on. So for instance, mine is the 4 terabyte. Scroll down to Steam Library or Steam Apps. Open this. You're going to want to click on Common. And you're going to scroll all the way down to Need for Speed Rivals. You're going to want to click the Need for Speed 14.exe. Don't click the x86. You want the Need for Speed 14.exe, press open, and it'll pop up right here. Now, I already have this configured, so it's already going to appear for me. Okay, so after you've selected Need for Speed Rivals, it should create a custom configuration. Okay, so once you've selected Need for Speed Rivals, you should get this screen right here. So basically, we're not going to have anything on the left or the right side, so we're going to want to add our mods. So pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to go right here where it says add mods. We're going to click on this, and you're going to want to select the zip file that you downloaded. So go to wherever you saved the zip file. Okay, so this file right here, remove intro video. You're going to want to open this. You don't have to extract the zip file. Frosty Mod Manager should handle all of that already. So once you click open, you're going to see remove intro video. You're just going to want to make sure this is selected. So click on it. And you're going to click apply mods, and it should be right here on the right side. Also, there is another mod that will actually unlock the Overwatch/NSF network content. So if you guys want to do that, you can also do that. It's pretty simple. You just download it, use Frosty Mod Manager, but I'm not going to be showing you guys how to do that in this video. I'm pretty sure it's kind of considered piracy. I'm not sure if that unlocks the DLC or if that's just the free cards that they gave out. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm not going to be covering that. So if you guys want to do this, like I said, it's very easy. You just go to this link, download the mod, use Frosty Mod Manager. Same thing with the no intro video, but like I said, I'm not going to be covering that specifically in this video. So on this page, if you want to download the FPS Unlocker, you're going to want to scroll all the way down to where you see, so you're going to want to scroll all the way down until you get to the video section right here. And you're going to want to go to right here where it says 60 FPS and 120 plus FPS. And it's going to say use Brawl Tendo's frame rate unlocker. So you're going to want to click on this link. This is going to take you to a GitHub page. And pretty much this is a frame rate unlocker by Brawl Tendo. And pretty much what you want to do is you're going to want to scroll over to the releases tab right here. So on this page, just go right here to the right, click on the 1.01 version. You're going to want to click and download this zip file right here. Okay, so after you downloaded that zip file, before we put this into Frosty Mod Manager, we are going to have to do something first. So go ahead and open this zip file right here. And you're going to want to click and select all of these 4 files right here. So the scripts folder, the commands.txt, and the DLL and the INI file. You don't have to copy the README. So basically copy these 4 files. You're going to want to copy these over to your game's root install folder. So navigate over to wherever you have the game installed. So I have it, so Steam Library, Steam Apps, Common, Need for Speed Rivals. So here on this page, so this is the install folder right here. You're going to want to copy and paste these over like so. And if this pops up for you, go ahead and click replace the files. And by default, this mod will increase your FPS all the way up to 200 FPS. So if you want to change this FPS limit, you can actually click on the commands.txt file, open this, and then change the max time or max game time variable to whatever value that you like. By default, it's set to 200. You can go ahead and set it to like your monitor's refresh rate or something, whatever the max frame rate you can get for the game. Once you set your frame rate, go ahead and click on file and then go ahead and click save. Okay, just like that. So, and then go back to your Frosty Mod Manager, and then go ahead and open the scripts folder, and you're going to want this rivals unlocked.fb pack. Just go ahead and click and drag this over to the Frosty Mod Manager. Okay, if you get this message, that's okay. Just click OK. All right, and then you're going to want to click on it, and you're going to want to click apply mods. So now that we should have both mods here, I'm actually going to put Rivals Unlocked first in the mod order, just in case. I prefer that to be loaded first because this frame rate unlocker mod actually has some issues, at least for me. Whenever I use it, the game will usually crash after playing for like 10 minutes. So if you're noticing crashes with Need for Speed Rivals, and if you're noticing that you're playing the game and after like 10 or so minutes, like you're just driving around the map, the game just closes, go ahead and deactivate this mod. At least in my experience, this mod has been causing my game to crash. Sometimes it causes it to crash, sometimes it doesn't, but it's usually after about 10 or 11 minutes the game will crash. All right, now before we launch the game, there are a couple of other improvements that we actually can do to the game to make it look and feel a little bit better. So don't close this window because we actually want to use this to launch the game. So if you want to play Need for Speed Rivals with mods, make sure that you use Frosty Mod Manager. Apply the mods like so, and then click launch. But before we do that, there are a couple of things that you should do. So going back to the PC Gaming Wiki page for the game, if we scroll down to right here where it says vertical sync, it'll say triple buffered and disable GPU or disable through GPU control panel to reduce stuttering and input lag. If you don't mind a little bit of screen tearing, you can go ahead and turn off VSync. I would recommend turning off VSync because it removes a lot of input delay and it makes the game feel a little bit smoother to play as well. So if you want to do this and you have an Nvidia graphics card, you're going to want to do this through the control panel. Don't do it through the Nvidia app because you can't turn triple buffered off manually. I mean, maybe the Nvidia app turns that off as well, but we're going to be using the legacy version because that actually gives us the option to manually turn it off. If you have an AMD graphics card, just use the AMD control panel, whatever the equivalent is. So go ahead and go here. So this is for, like I said, Nvidia graphics card users. Go ahead and search up Nvidia control panel. Like I said, the control panel, not the app. All right, we're going to open this. All right, so once the control panel opens under the Manage 3D settings over here on the left-hand side of the page, go ahead and click on this. You're going to go over to Program Settings. Make sure you're not using global settings because that'll affect every application on your PC. And then go to Program Settings, and then if you don't see Need for Speed Rivals in this list of applications, click on Add. All right, and then in this screen, go ahead and click Browse, and then just navigate over to your game's install folder and make sure you click on NFS 2014 or NFS 14, not NFS 14x86. So click NFS 14exe and then click Open. All right, so you can go ahead and copy my settings. All of these are default except for a handful of them. So I have anisotropic filtering on 16x, and then FXAA is on for anti-aliasing. I have this forced on. Then if we scroll down, I have power management mode on, prefer maximum performance, and then texture filtering, anisotropic sample optimization, I have this off. Texture filtering, negative LOD bias, I have this on clamp. And then down here on the bottom, these are our VSync options right here. So triple buffering I have off, and then vertical sync I also have off. All right, so once you change these options, go ahead and go to the bottom right hand of your screen and click apply. All right, and finally, the last thing that we're going to be doing to the game to make it look so much more better than it does by default, we're going to be turning up the render resolution. So basically, this is going to upscale the game, and then it's going to downscale it to your monitor's resolution. This will actually tank your performance. So if you're on a pretty low-end system, you might not want to use this, or you might want to use one of the lower options. But if you're on a mid-range to high-end system, you should be able to run the game just fine. You can use either 1.5 or 2x, and it will actually crank up the game all the way up to, I think, past 1440p. I think you can go all the way up to 4K, but obviously, you know, for me, I have a Nvidia 3060. The 3060 is not a 4K graphics card, okay? So I'm not going to be upscaling it to that. So if you don't have an Nvidia graphics card, you're going to have to use this launch argument right here. So pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to go to Steam, or if you have it on the EA app, you should be able to do this on the EA app. But on Steam, you're just going to want to right click Properties, and then right here under Launch Options, you're going to want to copy and paste this line right here. All right, and then you're going to want to paste this here. So now you can upscale this all the way up to 2x, which is a little bit past 1440p, or you can go all the way down to 1.5. However, if you have an Nvidia graphics card, there is something else that we can do to make the game look equally or better. We'll get more performance out of the game. So if you have an Nvidia graphics card, don't do this. If you have an AMD graphics card or like an Intel graphics card, go ahead and do this. But if you have an Nvidia graphics card, don't put that launch argument. You're going to want to actually activate DSR. Now, DSR is basically the same thing. It upscales the game and then downscales it to your monitor's resolution. So go ahead and open the Nvidia app. We're going to be using the the actual Nvidia app for this, not the control panel. You can do this in the control panel if you want to, but we're going to do it in the app just because it looks a little bit better. It's a little bit simpler. So go ahead and navigate over to global settings. You can only do this in global settings. And then right here where it says DSR factors, you're going to want to open this, and by default, these will be deselected. Basically, it'll look like this: DSR factors off. You're going to want to click on this and go ahead and enable whatever resolution that you want. DL scaling right here is going to be, as like it says, same quality but 2x more efficient. So if you want to go all the way up to 1440p or 1620p, you can use either the 2.25 or 1.78, or if you want to go all the way up to 4K, you can use legacy scaling and use it like that. You can also enable all of these if you want, but I'm just going to enable 1.78 because at 2.25 the game starts to dip in FPS a little bit too much for my liking, and to be honest, the game looks great at 1.78 either way. So we're going to upscale it to 1440p. Go ahead and click apply. You can also adjust the DSR smoothness if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it at the default 33%. I'm going to click apply. So after you click apply, your monitor might flash black for a second. Just let it do its thing. Once it comes back, we're good to go. You can go ahead and close out of the Nvidia app, and then now we can go ahead and launch the game using Frosty Mod Manager. So make sure both of your mods are applied and then click launch. Now it'll pop up with this message right here on Steam if you're using Steam. If you're using the EA app, I think it might pop up with the screen on the EA app. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't tested it with the EA app. I would recommend using the Steam version of the game either way, because in my experience, whenever I try to use any kind of mods with games on the EA app, they never work. So go ahead and click continue, and go ahead and just wait for the game to launch. Alright, once the game is open, go ahead and press A. It'll sign into the EA servers. If you're doing this after the game shut down, it's not going to do this. Okay, so once the game has launched, go ahead and navigate to the settings tab. You're going to want to go to PC settings, and then right under screen resolution, if you're on a... Now, I'm not sure if you have to do this if you use the command line argument. I think if you use the command line argument, it'll automatically upscale it to 1.5 times or 2 times, whatever you set it to. But if you're using DSR through the Nvidia app, you're going to have to manually go into the settings and then change your resolution to whatever you want the upscaled resolution to be. So since we're upscaling it to 1440p, just go ahead and go to screen resolution and then turn that on. And then while we're in here, obviously we can turn on all of this stuff right here. All right, there's not really much you can adjust in here, but I recommend having it all on max because this game isn't very, it's not very demanding either way. All right, and then once we're done with that, you can go ahead and play the game. So on an Nvidia 3060, if you look in the top left corner, I know it's kind of hard to see, but we are not quite hitting 144 FPS. This is while recording as well, so it might get a little bit better performance if you're not recording. But for the most part, I usually get around 115 to 140 FPS, depending on where I'm at on the map. And either way, the game feels very smooth, and the game looks absolutely gorgeous. So the anti-aliasing in this game, in my opinion, looks very bad. I mean, the game is a PS3 game, so, you know, without upscaling the game looks kind of bad. But if you do use DSR or use the super resolution through the command line argument, the game will actually look better. Even if you're on a 1920 by 1080p monitor, the game will look better if you upscale it. So it won't look like 1440p, but the stuff like the anti-aliasing and the quality, the overall graphics quality will look a little bit sharper and better. And you will notice that there is a lot less shimmering than if you don't have DSR or the super resolution turned on. Like I said, I usually get around 115 to 120 to 140 FPS. It just depends on where I'm at on the map. And if you guys want to play the game offline and the game still hasn't shut down, so this, as of the making of this video, it isn't October yet, and the game is still online. You can play with other players. If you don't want to play with other players, go ahead and click start, and you're going to want to navigate to all drive. So navigate over to all drive, and then under all drive settings, go ahead and press A. Then you can change this to private game. So if you want to play privately, or if you want to play in single player, you can. Or if you want to play with just your friends, you can. Or if you just want to play with other players, just random people, you can do that as well. Obviously, once the game shuts down, the only thing that's going to be available is the single player. So, you know, if you're watching this after October 7th, this isn't going to really apply to you. Alrighty, well, that's going to pretty much do it for today's video. I just thought I would make a video kind of talking about the shutdown for this game and also show you guys how to make the game a lot more enjoyable to play, at least if you're on PC. Obviously, if you're on console, you're stuck to 30 FPS and the game looks like absolute butt. But yeah, sucks that this game is shutting down. I wouldn't say this is the best Need for Speed, but in my opinion, I think this game has better handling than any of the modern Need for Speed games. So any game after Need for Speed Rivals, I feel like it has worse handling than Need for Speed Rivals, but at the same time, Need for Speed Rivals' physics, like car physics, is kind of jank. So I don't know. I think Need for Speed Rivals is kind of mid, but at the same time, you know, it's not bad. It's not a bad game, right? Obviously, Metacritic, it has like, what, an 80% score, which is, it's a little high in my opinion, but sucks that this game is shutting down. EA didn't mention anything about the Xbox 360 or the PS3 version shutting down, but I think it's safe to assume that those will probably shut down as well. So, you know, if you want the PS3 Platinum or you want the Xbox 360 achievements, at least the online achievements, right? I'd recommend going and doing those before October 7th because I'm not 100% sure if they'll still be around after that. But yeah, other than that, if you guys found today's video helpful, be sure to smash that like button. Like I said, this video gets 25 likes. I'll go and platinum Anthem and suffer for all of you guys, and I'll make a video on it. But other than that, I just want to give a quick shout out to my channel member, the good guy Chris. Thank you for being a channel member. If you guys want to get access to some exclusive perks, as well as exclusive members only videos, go ahead and click the link in the description below, or head to the membership tab on my channel homepage. Other than that though, I'm RunnerMan15. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later. Also, quick note, I am doing a video on the Meta Ray-Bans. If you guys want to see that review, hopefully I'll try and get it out around Friday of this week. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Other than that, peace.